Hello, and welcome back to episode 9 of Pureblu Spotlight. For those of us who are joining us for the first time, Manish and me are the founders of Pureblu. And Spotlight is a 30-minute session held every month where we would like to share our thoughts on the three guiding pillars of Pureblu, which we call as RAP, which is reliability, accountability, and productivity. Hi, Manish. Manish joins us from halfway across the world. How are you doing today, Manish?
Doing very well. How are you, Ajit?
Absolutely good. You couldn't miss this event wherever you are, right?
No,
Because
I
today
couldn't.
is a big one for us.
Definitely. Yeah, so I'm halfway around the world. I'm in sunny South Florida, near the Florida Keys, and of course, I've got the appropriate attire, so couldn't miss it. And yeah, we've got a big announcement, so I'll take it and hand it over back to you.
Awesome. Too good, man. All right. So at PureBlue, we have two product lines. One is our SaaS platform, which is an easy to use software for air conditioning service providers to manage their customers, field resources, the trouble tickets, and the life cycle of the air conditioning and refrigeration systems. Our second product line is Smart AMC, where where multi-city, multi-location, all kinds of brands of air conditioning systems are managed as a one-stop solution under annual maintenance contracts, which also gives you a free IoT device that's free of cost. And this device sends you daily reports on your energy consumption. And please note, these uh, air conditioning systems can take up to about 70% of your energy consumption, whether it is commercial or residential applications. And this is how that report looks. It comes in every day in the morning onto your email box, and it tells you over the last 24 hours how you consumed your energy in 2 hours brackets in comparison with the previous week, and that sets the tone for you to save energy. So that's the Smart AMC. So today's session is on customer experience in initiating a service call. I mean, you need a service call, and how do you actually go about doing it? And so let's get straight into it. So Manish, before we get into it, you and me have always been discussed this. There are so many kinds of services that we end up using. What's been your experience while scheduling a service? Because that's been the basis of which we kind of took a decision that this is how it should be in PureBlue. So why don't you share with our viewers today as to your thoughts and your experiences around this?
Yeah, so I think when anyone schedules any sort of servicing for anything, whether it's anything to do with their home, let's say their car, or let's say their laptop, or let's say phone, it's always a big event. They've got to somehow connect with the company, whether it's email, voice call, or they have an app or something like that, and it's always been a pain. And I would say for things that happen very infrequently, it doesn't make sense, for a lot of different communication methods. But I would say, when you look at the three pillars of Pure Blue, one of them is productivity. And I know we think about productivity from, the air conditioning side, the HVAC company, but really productivity is also on the side of the consumer. Because the consumer wants to be productive. I'll give you an example. This just recently happened about a week ago. So when I was coming to the U.S., I booked a ticket on Delta Airlines, which is one of the larger carriers in the US. And I had bought it online, but my autofill was on. So it actually put in the wrong last name of my ticket. And if that actually happens in India, you actually have to cancel that ticket and reissue it for safety reasons because the name has to be identical to the government ID. So I wasn't sure if that was the case here in the US. So I went online, tried to find Delta's contact information. And of course, it was next to impossible. Then they had a little chat bot at the bottom. I said, hey, do you want to interact with us via chat? So I said, oh, sure, why not? So I started it, and it was actually using Apple's messaging system. And I was checking from the minute I started that chat till the time the issue got completed was a total of 10 hours. Now, that doesn't mean I was online for the full 10 hours. I was doing my stuff throughout the day, and they would just kind of ping me every so often saying, hey, sir, we've moved your ticket or we've escalated it from bucket 1 to bucket 2, and we just want to make sure that we're just letting you know this is what the process of it and this is what's happening. And it was super amazing because had I been online, I would have wasted probably 30, 40, 50 minutes, and it still would have never been rectified. But this chatbot interface was really good. So I feel that's the same thing, when you look at servicing today. And what we do is everybody is using these different tools, but what it really comes down to is you want a very simple way of doing it. And another example is, I before I left, I had to do something with my AquaGuard, and I have an app, but then it doesn't make sense to actually have an app for something that happens so infrequently. So I kind of just, I called them actually because they didn't have any sort of interface for WhatsApp. I think they just started recently, but I think that's really where things are going, and that has been my experience. I think that's what everyone's experience has been: is everything is moving from a typical phone call, email, moving to an app, and now everyone is moving towards a WhatsApp bot for a lot of maintenance type calls.
Amazing. Too
Yeah.
good, man. So,
So
one of the things that what I've understood from you, when you talk about Delta, AquaGuard, everything, it's a big belief, that it's always been only for large companies. These good things are available only for large
right.
companies. And I guess small businesses which support these large companies always have a challenge. Why can't we get these fantastic features to help our customers? And that's been a kind of a problem here. And I thought that's what we're going to fix. So
Yeah.
you know how it happens in the HVAC industry right now. It's an absolute chaos. The person calls up, and language is a barrier. So you're struggling to find that guy's name, his number. After
Mhm.
you figure that out, name, number, you want to find out whether he's in warranty, he's in contract, and then you want to see that, oh, okay, which is the machine. Now imagine if you have 10 machines in your house or 5 machines in your house, or imagine a large application like your office, which might have 15, 20, or 30 machines, or if it's a large hotel, which might have 200 rooms. How do you identify which is that machine? Because you've got to tell your technician where to go and what is to be done. So it's very irritable. The whole experience is a nightmare. It's chaotic, and from a coordinator's perspective, like the summers that we have right now, the work pressure increases tenfold. And you can't put manpower just to handle tenfold of business for 1 month for the whole year. And that's where the chaos happens. And that needs to be fixed. And that's one of the big things that we really wanted to fix. And the often common thing is, as hey, let's launch an app. What's your take on this? Yeah, because all the Ubers and Swiggies and the Amazon, they all have apps. So why shouldn't when Pureblu launch a customer app uh, for service complaints or for engaging with the platform? What's your take on this? What is the
So
whole thing
my
about
take
not
is, I
having an
think
app?
so. I think my take is very typical. It's a very technology focused thing. Our response is, they say when all you have is a hammer, everything is a nail. And I think that's the same thing with technology. This was during the wave of everything needs to be an app. Let's have an app for this, let's have an app for that. And it sounded great, but I think in the last 3-4 years, you hear people saying, I don't want to download that app. I don't need that app. I don't want to download something else. So I think people have now come to the point where they've had too many different apps on their phone, and I think it makes sense for certain types of things. So, like we mentioned, Swiggy, we mentioned Uber, these things, Amazon, Flipkart, these are things that you're going to be using on a daily basis. Maybe not even once, but maybe twice a day. So for that, it makes sense for an app, and also makes sense for an app where you're buying things like Amazon. Can you imagine trying to go through a WhatsApp bot for like trying to buy 10,000 things? Although there are apps that are that, but I think for certain things it doesn't make sense. And I think servicing is a perfect example where you have very infrequent type needs and just a very specific type of communication to the customer saying, yes, we've logged your complaint. This is the time when someone's going to come. And when that person comes, then you send them a report, and end of story. We're done with that transmission or that communication with the customer. And I think that's where people kind of get in the trap of, let's build an app. And you see it a lot. Every company wants to have an app, and it just doesn't make sense. And part of it is because they want that data of that customer. But the reality is, when you already have that data, you don't need to have additional information. Like, do you really need to know the location of that person all the time? Doesn't make sense. So that's kind of where we feel that, having an app doesn't make sense for everything. But having said that, and you just mentioned about, the SMEs and, the HVAC industry, what is the ideal, so having understood the problem, can you tell us a little bit about the big thing that we're launching today, which is the Pureblu WhatsApp chatbot, and tell us a little bit about how you kind of envisioned it, and tell us a little bit about how people are using it.
All right, awesome. So I think the first thing is to, like how we said, there's no need an app, but everybody uses WhatsApp. And when WhatsApp API was launched, we were very keen that that would be the go-to factor for us. And we were always guided by the Pureblu wrap, the three guiding pillars, reliability, accountability, and productivity. Any innovation that we do has to be around these three things, and that's what drives us. And when it came to productivity, uh, the consumer interface it was extremely important. Until date, we had kept it that you make a phone call and then you take it from there. It's automated from there. All that's going to change. So what's going to happen is we have one national number. This is the WhatsApp number. It's on your screen. You can see it. It's 897-683-1331. That's the one number where everyone, all our partners are using it, all the Smart AMC customers, everybody is using it. And the calls get registered through WhatsApp. And once the call gets registered through WhatsApp, an engineer or a technician is allocated automatically by the platform. Think about it. No phone calls. Right now, you make a phone call, you have to identify your machine, identify yourself, identify the status. Then the person who receives the call has to validate that, and then he has to identify a technician, then allocate it. All that productivity, loss of time is all completely lost. And we have this whole WhatsApp integration, which is live, and lots of our partners are currently using this. So just to give you a feel of how this goes, I'm going to show you a video of how this whole WhatsApp works. The audio in this video is in the local language in Hindi, but I'm sure the visuals are in English, so language should not be a barrier. So here's to our big customer interface on Pureblu WhatsApp integration.
अब ये प्योरब्लू का व्हाट्सएप इंटरफेस है। ये नंबर आपको शेयर किया जाएगा। जिस भी कस्टमर को व्हाट्सएप के थ्रू कॉल लॉग करना है, आपको उसे पहले कस्टमर में जाके कस्टमर में वो व्हाट्सएप नंबर एक्टिवेट करना पड़ेगा, और कस्टमर का नंबर एक्टिवेट करने के बाद यहाँ पे कस्टमर व्हाट्सएप के थ्रू कंप्लेंट सिस्टम में रजिस्टर कर सकता है। अब जैसे उसने हाई लिखा, यहाँ पे वो सिलेक्ट करेगा, वो कस्टमर का नाम आएगा, थैंक यू फॉर रीचिंग टू अस, प्लीज सिलेक्ट अमंग द फॉलोइंग ऑप्शंस। अभी उसको कंप्लेंट लॉग करना है, तो यहाँ पे उस सर्विस रिक्वेस्ट पे क्लिक करेगा। अब जैसे वो सर्विस रिक्वेस्ट सिलेक्ट करेगा, यहाँ पे उसके सामने जितने भी कस्टमर्स आपने उस पर्टिकुलर नंबर को व्हाट्सएप एलोकेट किया है यहाँ पे दिखाई देंगे। अब जैसे कि यहाँ पे उसको कंप्लेंट लॉग करना है अबाउट लेबोरेटरीज जुहू, तो नंबर 3 सिलेक्ट करेगा। अब यहाँ पर उसको जिस भी मशीन का कंप्लेंट लॉग करना है, अब जैसे कि मैं बोल रहा हूँ यहाँ पे उसको हॉल का कंप्लेंट लॉग करना है, तो वो हॉल सिलेक्ट करेगा नंबर 4। जैसे वो नंबर 4 सिलेक्ट करेगा, लोकेशन सिलेक्ट करेगा, उसके सामने 10 कॉमन कंप्लेंट्स की लिस्ट आ जाएगी। अब जैसे कि यहाँ पे कंप्लेंट है नॉट कूलिंग नंबर 6, तो नंबर 6 सिलेक्ट करेगा। अब जैसे ही नंबर 6 सिलेक्ट करेगा, सिस्टम कंप्लेंट जनरेट करके सिस्टम कंप्लेंट नंबर कस्टमर को व्हाट्सएप पे भेज देगा। जब भी कंप्लेंट एलोकेट हो जाएगा, तो कस्टमर को ऐसा व्हाट्सएप जाएगा कि योर हेलो कस्टमर नेम, योर एयर कंडीशनिंग कंप्लेंट प्रिवेंटिव सर्विस रिक्वेस्ट नंबर, जो कंप्लेंट नंबर है, और कभी शेड्यूल है उसका डिटेल्स आ जाएगा, और उसके बाद कौन से मशीन के लिए है और कौन सा टेक्नीशियन आने वाला है उसके कॉन्टैक्ट नंबर के साथ कस्टमर को जैसे ही आप टेक्नीशियन को कॉल एलोकेट करोगे, ये व्हाट्सएप चले जाएगा। जैसे ही सर्विस या कंप्लेंट अटेंड होता है, उसके बाद तुरंत सर्विस रिपोर्ट पीडीएफ फॉर्मेट में व्हाट्सएप पे कस्टमर को चले जाएगा। तो आप यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं, जब आप यहाँ पे पीडीएफ को टच करेंगे तो सर्विस रिपोर्ट ओपन हो जाएगा। आप देख सकते हैं ये सर्विस रिपोर्ट ओपन हो गया है। तो क्लाइंट को सर्विस रिपोर्ट इंस्टेंटली व्हाट्सएप पे चले जाएगा, जो ये फॉर्मेट में रहेगा। ये प्योरब्लू का व्हाट्सएप सर्विस है, जहाँ पे कि कस्टमर कंप्लेंट लॉग करेगा, कस्टमर को इसमें वही मशीन्स दिखाई देंगे जिसकी एएमसी या फिर जिसकी वारंटी एक्टिव है। अगर जिसकी एएमसी या वारंटी इनएक्टिव है, वो मशीन्स का कंप्लेंट या फिर प्रिवेंटिव सर्विस कस्टमर लॉग नहीं कर पाएगा। उम्मीद है आप पूरा इस फीचर को यूज करोगे और यूज करने के बाद इसे इम्प्लीमेंट करोगे। थैंक यू।
There you go. That's all about how that WhatsApp feature works. Very easy to use. Now, the question that you would have in your mind is, how do I activate it on the system? How do I, if I have 10 people in my office or in my hotel or at my home, I have more than one person, how do I actually get that activated? So it's very simple. You can call up your service provider or you can call up a Pureblu, and you can tell which are the WhatsApp numbers that you need to get connected. So at the back end, it's very easy. Once the WhatsApp feature is active on your platform, all you have to do is just go and register as many numbers as you want. Now, there are many ways you can do this. One is you can register multiple numbers to the entire customer. There could be different locations for each customer. You can choose which number should come for which location. You can plan that. And how do you go about doing this? Check this out.
प्योरब्लू ने व्हाट्सएप फीचर इंट्रोड्यूस किया है। उसमें व्हाट्सएप फीचर में कस्टमर्स अपने कंप्लेंट्स व्हाट्सएप के थ्रू लॉग कर सकते हैं, पर उसके लिए आपको कस्टमर में जाके आपको कस्टमर का व्हाट्सएप नंबर ऑथराइज करना पड़ेगा। अब जैसे मैं यहाँ पे BMW एशिया में गया, यहाँ पे मैं ऐड व्हाट्सएप इन्फो में क्लिक करूंगा और यहाँ पे मैं कस्टमर का व्हाट्सएप नंबर इसमें ऐड करूंगा। इसकी मैंने इसमें क्लिक किया तो यहाँ पे मैं कस्टमर का नाम डालता हूँ और यहाँ पे कस्टमर का मोबाइल नंबर और यहाँ पे एक्टिव पे क्लिक करता हूँ और यहाँ पे जो ब्रांच में मुझे उस नंबर को एक्टिव करना है उसको सिलेक्ट करके मैं सेव करूंगा। अब जैसे ये सेव हो जाएगा, ये व्हाट्सएप इस पर्टिकुलर कस्टमर के लिए एक्टिव हो गया। मतलब ये कस्टमर व्हाट्सएप के थ्रू कॉल सिस्टम में लॉक कर सकता है, उसको सिस्टम में पूरी मशीन्स दिखाई देगी।
So that's about it. You can actually now have multiple people without making a phone call log a complaint. So it's no more about logging a complaint. It's now calling for a technician. You change the whole paradigm. It's a paradigm shift where earlier you would make a phone call so that somebody picks up your service call and then decides. Here it's not like that. Here now you are actually allocating a technician directly whenever you have a problem, and you can do this at any time during the day. You don't have to be bothered whether it is open, the place is open, the phone is available, it's congested, nothing. Whenever you feel you have a problem with the air conditioner, just get there and log it and ask for a technician. The platform will allocate it directly. So Manish, you led this whole development. What's your take? How's it come out?
So first of all, we were probably the very first HVAC platform to roll out a WhatsApp feature. So that's really amazing. That's the first thing. Second is there's really no point in asking me about how I think it went. I think the better way of asking is, are people even using it? So we already know we rolled it out last week as a soft launch, and we have already customers using it. And it's amazing for us to see because these are people that have found out about it through the soft launch. They've interacted with the WhatsApp chatbot. They've given their complaint, they've logged it, and then we've auto allocated a technician, and it all happened automatically, which is amazing. So that is what's great to see, that it's actually happening. But I'll tell you, one of the key insights that really I was kind of surprised is we have a very large customer that has probably hundreds of units, and they were actually excited about WhatsApp. And I was kind of surprised. I was thinking, why would somebody that has hundreds and hundreds of AC units be interested in a WhatsApp interface? Because you would imagine, oh my God, there's going to be 100 options. How do I go through all of them? But what he said was very, succinct. He basically said, listen, I no longer have to tell my field staff, my operations on the ground, how to use yet another app. I don't have to worry about onboarding them. All that stuff is all taken care of because I'm already using Pureblu. It's very easy for me now for them to just communicate with it. And it's a very simple system because it's the Pureblu backend, but the front end looks like the WhatsApp interface. So he said it's very easy for the technicians to kind of use that very, very simply. And I thought that was very eye-opening because in my mind, you've got over 100 units. You're going to want like some sort of nice menu system, some nice app, all of that stuff. He goes, yeah, that may be nice, but he goes, the problem is if nobody uses it, it doesn't matter. And I think that's really what triggers us when we think about all these apps for everything else, is they may look nice, it may be a great marketing push and everyone starts looking at it, but do they use it day in and day out? Probably not. He said the reality is most of his, field staff, they're using WhatsApp to communicate all day, and we all know it. We're using WhatsApp all the. If I look at the most used app on my phone today, it is WhatsApp, by far. So people are already in the app. So for them to start using a chatbot makes it very, very simple. And I think that's the key thing. And that's what's amazing. So yes, there was a lot of development on the back end, on the technology platform, a lot of stuff we did. Yeah, that's great. But the real key is you can build very complex things. But if at the end the customers don't use it, who really cares? And that's the difference this time. And I think that's the beauty within, we see everyone at Pureblu is just so excited because everyone is using it. And why not? They're so used to using WhatsApp that for us to connect to the back end of Pureblu, it just totally makes sense. And that's what's great. And that's what is really exciting. And I can see more and more people using it. And for us, there is probably less and less need. I always thought that we would have to probably come up with an app maybe a year from now for our very large customers. But I think now that is not even a discussion anymore, because we're able to give them, much better reports. We can give them, reports on a weekly or monthly basis based on, the interactions with the platform. And I think that's what they really want more than anything else. I think they don't want to teach their staff yet another app. And that's why they love Pureblu.
And and also some of the feedback that I've got from the customers who were part of our soft launch was, I'm not looking for emails. On the move, I know what's happened. Like say, for example, these maintenance in charge or the facility in charges who got to make sure these trouble tickets are taken care of and they're answerable for it. They know when the call has been logged in. They know when the technician is coming there. They know who the technician is going to be. And when the job is done, they immediately get a copy of that report that says that this job has been done. This is how it is. No phone calls, nothing. It's real-time update. They love it. It's just a wow factor, and that ease of operation is fantastic. And look at the beauty of the back end. The back end, which had multiple phone calls to receive and to make to the technicians, all that's changed. They are just now looking at, trouble points or escalations where a human intervention is required. Now that reduces the entire workload by almost 60 to 70%. Now this is efficiency and also brings down cost at the back end. Now, even if you double your business, the number of people that you require at the back end will not grow proportionally. So you can grow your business, bring in efficiency, and you still do not increase costs. And that's the big takeaway with most of these service providers. Now think from an SME's perspective. You can now use services and features which primarily was only for these large organizations, but now it's available for you. You can also bring down your costs, and you could make sure that you are extremely efficient in the service delivery system. Because in the HVAC business, services is critical because it's a mechanical product, and mechanical items require constant services. And if you are able to give great services, customer retention is very high. And usually an HVAC customer does not change the service provider unless the experience is better somewhere else or you really screw up. And that's how it is. So I think WhatsApp is a game changer with Pureblu, and it's going to bring in a lot of efficiency around here. So to all our viewers, sorry,
Actually,
go ahead.
I've got a couple of things to add to that. The other
Sure.
thing is, we mentioned how, May, June is a very busy period. And that's the thing that relieves a little bit of the pressure, and I think that's the biggest thing. And, when you have pressure on the team, there's chances that mistakes are made or things kind of drop through, the bucket, kind of drop through the bucket. And an example is, they're taking all these different calls and they may write something down on a piece of paper and then they forget about it. And I think that's the difference, is that eliminates a lot of that. And that's the reason why we typically although we do like to speak to humans when there's an issue, but that's usually when it gets escalated. But initially, you just want to kind of get that tracking by talking to a bot or get an email or some notification. That's the reason why I think when Uber and Ola first launched, it was great because you could actually see, where that person was. And then you can kind of estimate, okay, he's 5 minutes away, he's 2 minutes away. At least I know he's coming, versus, calling and then 10 minutes later, you're wondering whether that person's even coming or not. I think that's the difference with this system, is it alleviates a lot of those pressures. But more importantly, I think the biggest thing is just it makes it very easy for someone to kind of, register a complaint, and you don't have to sit there and get on the phone and wait for someone. And definitely during May, June, when it's busy, they'll be like, please, sir, can you wait? And you're like, okay, fine. But this way is just kind of no need to do that anymore. And it's very simple, and it makes as we said, the productivity of everyone increase, the productivity of the HVAC provider and the productivity of our end customer as well.
That's right. And in fact, when you're saying, you need a notebook, I think our guys have moved a little ahead. It's no more the notebook, it's an Excel file. So instead of a notebook, we have an Excel file, and that's the first step in digitization. It's just an Excel file, but it's just chaos at its best. And I think we can change all that, get this industry organized, and make sure that you're giving a wow factor to your services while you bring down your cost. That's the whole thing. You give services which are which only large companies can offer, and you are now able to do that and still bring your costs down. So before we end the show, I think we have some time just to play back that video once more for you as to how to use that WhatsApp feature, the big feature of Pureblu and WhatsApp integration.
अब ये Pureblu का WhatsApp इंटरफेस है। ये नंबर आपको शेयर किया जाएगा। जिस भी कस्टमर को WhatsApp के थ्रू कॉल लॉग करना है, आपको उसे पहले कस्टमर में जाके कस्टमर में वो WhatsApp नंबर एक्टिवेट करना पड़ेगा, और कस्टमर का नंबर एक्टिवेट करने के बाद यहाँ पे कस्टमर WhatsApp के थ्रू कंप्लेंट सिस्टम में रजिस्टर कर सकता है। अब जैसे उसने हाई लिखा, यहाँ पे वो सिलेक्ट करेगा, वो कस्टमर का नाम आएगा, थैंक यू फॉर रीचिंग टू अस, प्लीज सिलेक्ट अमंग द फॉलोइंग ऑप्शंस। अभी उसको कंप्लेंट लॉग करना है, तो यहाँ पे वो सर्विस रिक्वेस्ट पे क्लिक करेगा। अब जैसे वो सर्विस रिक्वेस्ट सिलेक्ट करेगा, यहाँ पे उसके सामने जितने भी कस्टमर्स आपने उस पर्टिकुलर नंबर को WhatsApp एलोकेट किया है यहाँ पे दिखाई देंगे। अब जैसे कि यहाँ पे उसको कंप्लेंट लॉग करना है अबाउट लेबोरेटरीज जुहू, तो नंबर 3 सिलेक्ट करेगा। अब यहाँ पर उसको जिस भी मशीन का कंप्लेंट लॉग करना है, अब जैसे कि मैं बोल रहा हूँ यहाँ पे उसको हॉल का कंप्लेंट लॉग करना है, तो वो हॉल सिलेक्ट करेगा नंबर 4। जैसे वो नंबर 4 सिलेक्ट करेगा, लोकेशन सिलेक्ट करेगा, उसके सामने 10 कॉमन कंप्लेंट्स की लिस्ट आ जाएगी। अब जैसे कि यहाँ पे कंप्लेंट है नॉट कूलिंग नंबर 6, तो नंबर 6 सिलेक्ट करेगा। अब जैसे ही नंबर 6 सिलेक्ट करेगा, सिस्टम कंप्लेंट जनरेट करके सिस्टम कंप्लेंट नंबर कस्टमर को WhatsApp पे भेज देगा। जब भी कंप्लेंट एलोकेट हो जाएगा, तो कस्टमर को ऐसा WhatsApp जाएगा कि योर हेलो कस्टमर नेम, योर एयर कंडीशनिंग कंप्लेंट प्रिवेंटिव सर्विस रिक्वेस्ट नंबर, जो कंप्लेंट नंबर है, और कभी शेड्यूल है उसका डिटेल्स आ जाएगा, और उसके बाद कौन से मशीन के लिए है और कौन सा टेक्नीशियन आने वाला है उसके कॉन्टैक्ट नंबर के साथ कस्टमर को जैसे ही आप टेक्नीशियन को कॉल एलोकेट करोगे, ये WhatsApp चले जाएगा। जैसे ही सर्विस या कंप्लेंट अटेंड होता है, उसके बाद तुरंत सर्विस रिपोर्ट PDF फॉर्मेट में WhatsApp पे कस्टमर को चले जाएगा। तो आप यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं, जब आप यहाँ पे PDF को टच करेंगे तो सर्विस रिपोर्ट ओपन हो जाएगा। आप देख सकते हैं ये सर्विस रिपोर्ट ओपन हो गया है। तो क्लाइंट को सर्विस रिपोर्ट इंस्टेंटली WhatsApp पे चले जाएगा, जो ये फॉर्मेट में रहेगा। ये Pureblu का WhatsApp सर्विस है, जहाँ पे कि कस्टमर कंप्लेंट लॉग करेगा, कस्टमर को इसमें वही मशीन्स दिखाई देंगे जिसकी AMC या फिर जिसकी वारंटी एक्टिव है। अगर जिसकी AMC या वारंटी इनएक्टिव है, वो मशीन्स का कंप्लेंट या फिर प्रिवेंटिव सर्विस कस्टमर लॉग नहीं कर पाएगा। उम्मीद है आप पूरा इस फीचर को यूज करोगे और यूज करने के बाद इसे इंप्लीमेंट करोगे। थैंक यू।
Awesome. So that's the feature. It's live. Now go ahead. It'll roll out across to all our partners across the country. It's live now. And let's hope we're going to get a lot of people who are going to use it. And we're waiting for those reactions. Till now, it has been fantastic. That's the WhatsApp number. So we just have enough time to just wrap up. And WhatsApp is going to be the game changer. And like Manish said, it's the first HVAC platform which has got this WhatsApp integration. So if we have service providers, and I know there are a lot of service providers who constantly watch all our spotlight programs across the country, and they write to us, if you're not already on the Pureblu platform, that's the number you can call, and you will get and we can give you a demo of the Pureblu platform and how it can help you bring in efficiency and save money. To a lot of our other viewers who are customers, you are using an air conditioner. We're a tropical country. Air conditioners is a way of life, and it's it's just no more a luxury. It's all about productivity. I mean, if you do not sit in that comfort, you're not able to be as productive as you are. But here's the challenge: air conditioners consume 70% of your energy bills, whether it's your residential or commercial. And these are mechanical units which need to be maintained and serviced. So we have a smart AMC. That's the number you can call, which is on the screen. Give us a call and we'll explain to you what the smart AMC is all about and how an IoT device, which comes free, can help you save energy while you get fabulous services. So that's all we have today. And don't forget the WhatsApp number. You just add it to your contacts, send in a hello, and see the magic happen. Thank you very much. Thanks, Manish, for joining in. I think pretty good. We'll look forward to some feedback from all our viewers today.
Sounds good. And next episode will be number 10.
Number 10. That's how it's going to be.
Yep.
So see you guys
all right.
next one. Thank you very much.
Take care, everyone. See you.
Bye. Bye.